Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, man? I tell you what, that song just gets me moving. It's 2023. It's the first episode of the new year. I'm with my sidekick, Nick. Nick, man, how you doing?
Pretty good, just watching you just rock out.
Oh, man, I love that. I'm telling you, next week I'm going to have some sunglasses. We're going to have some fog machines in here. I may just put on a whole concert, man.
Light show.
Yeah, I just wanted to put on the whole song and just let it jam. Like
we'll Facebook it live.
Yeah, well, hey, we might get some people like that, man. You never know. You never know. But anyways, man, it's a new year. It's a new time. There's so much new stuff going on. If you haven't noticed already, we have got a new intro song. Fantastic. We're going to have a new outro going on as well. We're going to have all new topics this year. Not only that, we got a new name. Nick, tell me what that name is, brother.
People suck. Love them anyways.
And if you haven't noticed, one thing has not changed, and that is Nick's vibe, okay? Nick's vibe has not changed. He has carried that on into 23, baby. Ain't that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm only like a third into this energy drink.
Oh, man, I tell you what. But, man, I tell you what, 22 was good to us. 23 is even going to be better. And we thank you guys for tuning in, for downloading, for supporting, and all that good jazz. And, yeah, like we went back, we looked at some stuff last year. We tried to figure out what was going to be better, what would make us better, to try to include people in a different way and things like that. And we're always down for growing and extending and reaching out to different people and different backgrounds and whatever the case is, and we want people to just embrace this message and embrace this podcast and be like, you know what, hey, people do suck, man. I guarantee you everybody who listens to this has a people suck story. Nick, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think I even put in the description of this new podcast that, people have been sucking for centuries,
This is true. Yeah. This is true, bro. You could go back to the very beginning and be like, yeah, Adam and Eve, they sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't get it right. So here we are today. Here we are. But nonetheless, so that's what we're going to do this year, man. We're going to be tackling just different things about life that we can get better at, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually. We know the categories, right? And we're going to be talking about how we can get better, but it really starts with little bitty, teeny weeny things. Decisions, actions, words, things like that, man, that we write off as so small and so insignificant, and yet those are probably some of the most important decisions and building blocks that we have every single day, and somehow along the way, we write those off and we think that it's just the big-time stuff that makes a difference. But I can tell you, it's the decisions you make, it's the words you speak, it's the actions you take, it's the thoughts that you have that are so small that you don't tell nobody about, that truly, truly impacts the big decisions, the big breakthroughs, the big blessings, all of that good stuff that's going to come your way. You know what? It impacts and it starts with just the small stuff. And so me and Nick, we were talking. It was like, man, what are we going to talk about this first episode? What would be like a really good people suck, but they need to improve? Like let's point this out. Let's call this out. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Where would we go? What would we talk about? And one of the first things that we jokingly threw out, but then, hey, you know what? Jokes turn to seriousness. All right. Because now tonight on this episode, we're going to focus on what is one thing, man, one thing that probably gets you stirred up more than anything. It's when people leave their shopping carts out in the parking lot. Tell me, right? Yeah, tell me about it, man. Horrible individuals. People suck. But nonetheless, my man Nick, he's got a little article right here, or like a story or something like that he's going to read to you. And he read it to me before we got started. And I ain't going to lie to you. At first I was like, And then it was like the foot got on the gas doing 150. I was like, whoa, man, that took a drastic turn real quick,
It's like that time the shopping carts jumped off a curb and started chasing after.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I felt like it was some kind of like Wes Craven type film or something was about to happen. But nonetheless, read this, man, and we're going to talk about this just for a few minutes tonight, Nick. Go ahead.
All right, so this thing is called the shopping cart theory. I got this from, I want to say either 4chan or Reddit. I don't really know. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm going to say the anonymous user ID was
there you
a
go.
bunch of random random numbers, DSFDBK90. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is called the shopping cart theory. The shopping cart is the ultimate litmus test for whether a person is capable of self-governing. To return the shopping cart is an easy, convenient task, and one which we all recognize as correct and an appropriate thing to do. To return the shopping cart is objectively right. There are no situations other than dire emergencies in which a person is not usually able to return their cart. Simultaneously, it is not necessarily illegal to abandon your shopping cart. Therefore, the shopping cart presents itself as the apex example of whether a person will do what is right without being forced to do it. No one will punish you for not returning the shopping cart. No one will fine you or kill you for not returning the shopping cart, which we talked about may not necessarily be
I was going to
true,
say,
but
that's where it took a drastic turn for me, because I'm like, man, people go crazy over like sausage biscuits at McDonald's, or like, if Chick-fil-A went out a Chick-fil-A sauce or something. Like, people go crazy
I know,
over the
I was
silliest
just in
of
Walmart
things.
today, and this like older lady like tapped this other woman on the butt with her cart, and
Yeah.
like I saw her literally jump like 5 feet in the air and scream "ouch!" And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
calm
exactly.
down.
She probably fell down, held her neck, the whole 9 yards, man. I mean, I get it. Like, people go crazy over less, and like people will hunt you down over that shopping cart. We're
Anyway.
making a whole episode over
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Go
Anyway,
ahead.
so you gain nothing by returning the shopping cart other than being, a decent human being.
Right.
You must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart. You must return the shopping cart because it is the right thing to do, because it is correct. This is where it gets a little crazy, but
Right.
A person who is unable to do this is no better than an animal, an absolute savage who can only be made to do what is right by threatening them with the law and force that stands behind it.
Oh, man.
The shopping cart is what determines whether a person is a good or bad member of society. I honestly agree with that, to be 100% honest.
I was going to say, man, and we'll venture into that. Like, we'll talk about that. Opinionated, we'll talk about. Is that all of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. I was going to say, we'll talk about that. But, like, it was so funny that we're talking about shopping carts and literally taking them back. All right. I was at the Family Dollar today, man, and I mean, like, it's not a very big parking lot to begin with, but I always try to make a habit of taking my carts back, whether I'm Dollar Store, Family Dollar, wherever. Like, it doesn't matter. I always try to make a habit of either finding the cart rack or taking it back inside. So I took it back inside of the Family Dollar today and pushed it in. And this lady, she looked at me like with this unbelievable stare. And she was like, "Thank you so much." And I was like, "You're welcome."
Keenan was a superhero today.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, man. I felt like I was wearing a cape. And she's like, that saves me so much time from having to go out and chase them around in the parking lot and everything else. And I thought, man, like, it took me an extra 37 seconds, probably, maybe a minute, I don't know, to take that back in and to set it back up. And, here's the thing about it. It's like we're not only, being responsible, like what you talked about, with literally taking it back in and pushing it in, but we're also helping those people who have to clean up our mess. And honestly, Nick, that's how you find out if people suck the worst, is whenever they make a mess and they're like, that's what they have them other people for, to clean it up. That's
not my job.
That's not my job. I don't get paid to do that. That is the worst mentality in history. I'm fixing to break his table down. I'm fixing to karate chop this table, man. But, like, that is the worst mindset in history. Ain't my job. I don't get paid to do that. Like, what do you mean? Like, it takes zero effort to help somebody. It takes zero, man. Like, like you said, be a decent human being. And you can gauge if they're a decent human being by literally doing the small things. Mm-hmm. Small things, man. Like think of one thing right off the top of your head, man. What's one small thing you could think of you could do to be a decent human being?
Hold the door open for someone.
Oh my God. Like, hold the door open, man. Like, that's insane, right? Like, I think honestly, whenever we see things random, I call them random acts of kindness, right? I think that's what a lot of people call them out in the world. Whenever we see random acts of kindness, it blows people away these days. I paid for a guy's coffee one morning in the gas station, and he had, like, his car didn't work. He was going back out to get cash, and all that good stuff. And I just asked, I said, "Hey, how much, what is it?" It's like $3 or something. All right, cool. So I paid for it, man. Well, like, that guy chased me out of the gas station, shook my hand, and was like, "Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so." It was a $3 cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? But like this world, man, is so broken and so bankrupt of small random acts of kindness, love, compassion, grace, mercy. We talk about this a lot. The world is so bankrupt of that, man, because people suck so bad with their decision. I mean, people are selfish, right? I mean, we understand that. We understand that. And and it's like, they do things and they think things and they react on things with only themselves in mind. And, the message we always try to convey, whether it's, here at the church or whether it's out in the everyday public or whether it's within family members or whatever, it's like, every decision you make always has someone else involved, whether you know it or not. So it's like, we've just become so sucky at decisions and at just different things that would set us apart. Like you said, opening up a door for somebody, paying for gas or something like that, like crazy, man. And let's go back to this shopping cart thing, because I agree, it's savage, man. It's savagery. It's animals out there, man, that like you can't,
especially Walmart,
Walmart, wherever else, man. This the upscale Walmart, which is a Target. I mean, like it happens everywhere. But we were even joking about it beforehand. But it's like, if you are so to a point of where you don't want to walk an extra 7 feet to put your cart up, how about you online shop and then just go have it brought to you?
This is 2023. Almost at 2022.
I know.
This is 2023. We have Instacart, Walmart Click and Save, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can literally order your groceries and go sit in your car and have someone else put it all in your car for you.
True statement.
And you know what that employee is going to do? They're going to put that cart back in the store where they got it from.
Because they got to use it again. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And that's like, I bet, man, and this is something that like I try to teach my kids and they struggle with it. Like, man, I'm really struggling with the kids with this stuff right now, is the fact of that, like, put it back where you got it. Put it back where you got it. Did you, and then a lot of people will come at me and be like, well, I got that shopping cart in the parking lot, so I'm just going to leave, and it's like, well, be a decent human being and break the chain. But man, it's so crazy because you know what, just in that sentence right there, that is the mentality that has broke so many people down. I found it in the parking lot. I'm going to leave it in the parking lot for the next one. Break the cycle, break the chain, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I know we're talking about a freaking shopping cart, but you know what? It builds in your life. It builds in your life to where it's like, man, if you can't take a shopping cart back in, we were talking about like, I guarantee you, man, their life is a wreck. I guarantee you, like, like if you're taking the lazy way out there, where else are you taking the lazy way out in? What are you doing? What else are you doing in your life that's lazy because you won't take a shopping cart 6 feet? Yeah,
I mean, when as we're talking about this, I think of those people, and I'll be 100% honest, I am guilty of this one, but, like of where you'll go, like all the way, say, back in like the toy section, and, you grab something from there, you think you're going to buy it, and then you decide against it when you're all the way in the grocery section.
I know where this is going.
Right, and so you try to look around, make sure there's not an employee watching you, and just kind of sneak it in behind the bread or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Again, you may not think it's that big a deal, but, you made sure nobody's watching you, nobody saw you do it, but you do also have to remember that somebody has got to move that back where it goes.
That takes it to the point of character, man. Who you are when nobody is watching. Mm-hmm. Character.
Remember that God is always watching.
Absolutely, and I agree with that, man. But we don't think about the eyes in the sky, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we think about...
Yeah, I'm more concerned about that Walmart employee who's going to be giving me the death stare because I left that there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, as long as Captain Steve didn't see it, man, I'm good to go, and I'm cool, But it's like, yeah, man, it's like, God's probably up there shaking his head going... Like, dude, I taught you better. Like, just be better. Just be better. Help some people out. Just don't take an extra 7 steps. Push the cart up a little bit. Break the cycle. Don't be that same, lazy person who literally left it out there and that's where you found it. And you're just going to keep on. Like, you got to get better, man. And that's what, like, just little bitty teeny weeny things like that, like pushing a shopping cart up, and I love the speech that was made by the SEAL, the former Navy SEAL, man, that was talking about how every morning he would get up and he would make his bed. Every morning, that's how his day started. He would get up and he would make his bed. And it was like, you know what? He's like, that was a small task that I would get accomplished, and it would set the tone for the rest of my day. And people would look and go, well, it's a bed. You know, like, what do you mean? Well, first off, it displayed structure. Mm-hmm. It displayed discipline. It displayed the fact of that you're going to try to do something, you know, more than just trying to, you know, a lot of people run around, man, with their hair on fire 24/7, 365. There's no discipline. There's no structure. There's no plan. There's no, I'm just going to go. And wherever I end up is wherever I end up, you know? And it's like, whenever you do that, what are you accomplishing? How are you accomplishing it? And are you really seeing the true fruits of your labor? That's a good question. But, you know, he's talking about this bed. He makes his bed every morning. He said, you know what? And he said, even if the day sucks, even if the whole day sucks, because he's met people, you know, and he's dealt with people all day and people who didn't put their shopping carts up. But, you know, he said, even if the day sucks, he said, you know what? I still came home to a made bed. And that's what really got me, man, got me thinking about how, like, just little words, little actions. You know, we talked about on Sunday up here about how, you know, you get up in the morning, man, you put your feet on the floor and you say, God, thank you for getting me up. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you for opening up my eyes. Thank you for putting breath in my lungs. Thank you for that kind of stuff, man. Like, you know, it's the little things that we take for granted so much that we don't capitalize on and we don't build on and we don't go on. And then, like I said, we run around with our hair on fire, and it's like, you know, oh, God, I ain't got time to push that shopping cart back. I got to go, you know, things like that, man. And that's where I truly think that, like you said, you can kindly judge a person by, are they willing to take that extra step? Are they willing to do that kind of stuff? You know, anybody can put in a nice resume, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody can, you know, fluff up that resume. I'm a wonderful person, a wonderful human being, been through college and everything else, and then you really see them, you know. Okay. Are you really that person? Or are you the person that leaves that shopping cart out? Are you the person that cuts somebody off, or you know, oh, you ain't worried about buying that person's coffee or opening that door or whatever, man. Just small, random acts of kindness, Nick, can make this world better, right?
Absolutely. You know, and just think about, you know, what if, you know, you have, say, Fruition Church bumper sticker on your car, right?
Right.
And then, you know, someone sees you, it's a bright, sunny, beautiful day outside, and you push that cart and just let it sit in the parking spot next to you. And then, you know, you look over and that cart return is not, you know, literally in the opposite, like on the other side of your car.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, so someone is watching you and thinking, that person goes to church and they're just going to do something like that.
Right.
You know, you have to be aware of, you know, how people are watching you when you think no one's watching you.
That's right.
You know, because people are looking at you and they're building a profile of what a Christian is. You know, they're being reassured of those hypocritical ideals that they've come to think and believe about Christians.
Right.
You know, they're coming to think, oh, you know, this person, you know, again, if you want to be a Christian, you have to be selfless. You can't be a selfish Christian. Those things don't exist. You can't be a selfish Christian.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sitting here doing things, you know, because it makes you feel good, because it gives a return on value for yourself and you alone, you know, that's not how this thing's supposed to be. We're not lone wolfing Christianity.
Right.
You know, just in society, you know, if you're out here doing things just to further yourself, you know, people are going to be mad about you. I mean, how many people are angry at millionaires because they're sitting here using their money on themselves and them alone?
Right.
You know, and so, you know, just be aware of, you know, how other people are looking at you. And also another thing that was kind of hitting me a little bit ago, be aware of how your children are viewing you. Because, you know, if you're at Walmart and your children, you know, see you, you know, leave something in the middle of the aisle or leave a shopping cart in a parking spot and not put it back in the cart return, you know, they're seeing those small habits and they're going to pick up. Exactly. Right. They're going to pick up on those habits.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we're creating these, you know, selfish, you know, lazy children, you know, that, you know, these are small things. You know, we think, oh, if, you know, someone's, you know, sitting at home all day, not working, collecting money from the government, their kids are going to learn to do the same thing. They can also learn the same exact ideals from you doing those small, simple things. We don't think about it.
Yep.
But what I was reading a book today that talked about, you know, if you spend 1% of your time on bad, negative habits, it is going to basically destroy your life over time.
Oh, yeah.
But if you spend 1% of your time on positive, uplifting, and building habits, then you're going to be, you know, if you think, you know, 365 days out of the year, if you're spending 1% of each day getting better, that's going to compound. Someone called it like compound interest, kind of like when you put money in a bank.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to compound. But again, it's the same in the opposite direction.
What is that, 3.65% better every day? Is that right?
So, I don't know. There was a number, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, 1% of 365 is 3.65, I think. But, you know, anyways,
Anyway, just going back to the fact that, again, these small things, these small habits, these small seemingly insignificant things that we do or don't do on a daily basis add up over time. We may not see it immediately, we may not feel it immediately, but over time those things are going to build up, and they're either going to tear us down or they're going to raise us up. And again, just coming at this from, anybody's perspective, if you think about it from a Christian perspective, those little small things like, reading your Bible every day, praying every day, worshiping God every day, coming to church on Sundays and Wednesdays or whenever your church is having service. Yeah. Just those small things that may seem insignificant to you, like myself showing up to youth and still, teaching kids when there's one kid that shows up instead of, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Those little small insignificant things may seem small and insignificant to you, but they have long lasting impacts, and they're going to eventually build into something great. God is watching you. I think, again, that's something that we don't think about because it's not a clear and present danger of sorts. He's not sitting there. We don't hear a loud voice in the sky saying, move that cart back. We don't hear that. And we kind of neglect that God is watching us all the time. God is, we always paint God as this, loving, kind, caring God, but he also keeps tally of some of the things that we do, over time, unless we, repent and ask for forgiveness of it. That stuff is going to be, stay there. He's going to remember that. And again, just being aware of other people watching you, being aware of God watching you, being aware of what people think about you when you don't think anyone's watching, is a very, very big, important thing to think about.
You want me to play devil's advocate real
quick?
Go ahead. What's the motivation for people who don't believe in God to be a better person?
Well, there's a lot of different motivations. It depends on what they find important in their life.
Right.
But, I think, if somebody who doesn't believe in God, if their motivation is to be a better person, you can't. Most people, again, you would say to be a good, decent human being in society, to advance in society, you want to be someone that gets along with other people. It's hard to move forward and move up in life when you can't get along with other people. You want to have that team player mentality. That's why in school they put you in group projects all the time. God knows everybody hates that. But, they do that to give you that foundation.
And they stick you with the worst people, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Worst people.
Because, people suck, so you're not going to get along with anybody, no matter how old you are. But, and again, just understanding that, if you aren't a Christian, if you are somebody out there listening to this podcast, which we hope you are, if you're somebody out there listening to this podcast who is not a Christian, who doesn't currently go to church, understanding that, regardless of where you want to end up in the rest of your life, just understanding that these small acts can eventually build into a life of laziness and, regret and despair and destruction and boredom and fear and anxiety and depression and all these sorts of things.
Right.
You may not think about that when you're leaving that cart on the side of the road. But again, if you really, think about all the different times in your life you've, contributed in that way, where you've left something that it shouldn't have been there, you did something that you thought nobody was watching, but again, in your heart, you knew you shouldn't have done it, but you didn't really care. That stuff does eat at you over time. Trauma builds up over time. When you're thinking about things that have happened in your past, you may not immediately be able to pull them up and think about them, but they do define you, or they have defined moments of your life. They've kind of molded you like clay, like Play-Doh.
Right.
They've kind of defined who you are, your characteristics, your attributes, your whatever. These things that you have done over time is going to come out one way or another. If you have like a boss who says that you're lazy and incompetent and all these sorts of things, maybe look back and ask yourself why. I think a lot of times we just immediately get offended. I'm not lazy. I'm not I'm not that.
Yeah.
And then you go to Walmart, right? And then you leave a cart laying on the side of the road. And, and then you're backing up, or that one time that you're usually that person who does it, and then someone does it to you, and you back your truck into a cart, and you just start cussing them out over the place, and then realize that you were doing the same thing yesterday.
Get fired up.
Right, exactly. And so it's crazy, how many, and again, the point of this kind of shift in perspective that we're doing with this season 2 of the podcast is just really trying to look at how the things that people struggle with, we look at someone and say, hey, that person sucks because they do this, or they act like this, or talk like this, or watch this, or do that. We look at these people and we say these things, think these things, but then also understanding that we all fall short of the glory of God. We all fall short every day. We all make mistakes. We all do things we shouldn't. And we are supposed to still show love and, mercy and grace to these people, just like God has shown it to us time and time again. Understanding that people mess up, people screw up, but to be a decent, empathetic, understanding human being, we need to be helping each other out where we falter, and making sure we're watching out for one another and lifting each other up and supporting each other. We point out some of these things, we may be pointing and poking and prodding and making fun of people, but we do this to try and get you to think, oh, do I do that? you know what, I do that. You know, I guess it does make me kind of look like that kind of person for doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, we want you to change those habits, to change those things that you do. You know, we want you to put the cart back in the cart return in case, you know, again, that person who's never been to church before sees that sticker on the back of your car that says, "What would Jesus do?"
Right.
And you're leaving a cart in the middle of the road. Yeah. You know, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the things you do and the possible impact they'll have on your life in the long term is huge. And I think that we as human beings, Christians, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you're an atheist, whether you're, you know, gay, straight, Democrat, Republican, whatever, you know, looking at these different things that we as human beings struggle with is very, very important to help us just be basic, good human beings in general.
And that's what I wanted people to really, and whenever I said devil's advocate, like, that's what I really wanted people to understand is like, you know, is like Christianity has nothing to do with being a good person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, yes, like by all accounts, you know, if you are that Christian, if you have, you know, accepted Jesus, you're supposed to show and emulate the love of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, like, I know some nasty Christians. You know, I know some hateful people that been going to church for 62 years, you know? So it's like, at the same point in time, that's what I was trying to, like, bridge the gap there of, you know, hey, if you're that person who's really shallow about coming to church or shallow about, you know, or you've had some hurtful experiences or whatever, what is your motivation, you know, to be a good person? And the fact of it is that, you know, that, like you said, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, Cuban, Asian, different tax bracket, Democrat, Republican, whatever, like the same baseline applies to being just a decent human being, you know, being a good person, you know, like the same baseline applies across all different categories of life. And you know, I was listening to a guy the other day that said, you know, we're all born with two names, hopefully for the most part. And you know, I know some people choose to do 1, 3, 5, whatever. I mean, Kanye's just Kanye, right? He's still
we
Kanye.
Don't talk about Kanye.
Okay, yeah, he's missing right now, bro. I don't know where he's at. Hollywood's going crazy right now, by the way. But anyways,
we'll get to that in another episode.
We will get to that, man, because like, hey, there's some crazy stuff happening out that way. But nonetheless, but you know, he was talking about having two names, and he said, you know, your first name is all about you. Your first name is about you. You know, that it's possessive. It's what you do. It's who you are. It's the decisions you make. It's everything involved with you. But the last name is a legacy. It's a lineage. It's what you've grown up in. It's what was passed down from generation to generation to generation. And your last name is what your kids are going to have to live in. And you, as a parent, as an adult, as a person, have to decide what kind of lifestyle your children are going to have after you're gone. You know what I'm saying? And it's like if your mindset is, I'm going to teach my kids to be good human beings, to love people, to not suck, to go the extra mile, to, you know, to turn the other cheek, to not judge people by the color of their skin, the tax bracket they're in, or, you know, if they are gay or straight, if they are Democrat or Republican, if they are, you know, like if you want to get really truthful about everything, it boils down to two things. Love people. You know, that's what we've been called to do. As a Christian, love God, love people. That's what we've been called to do. That's what Jesus said. You'll be known by these things. Your love for me and the love that you have for people. You know, that's it. And again, whether you're Christian or not, hey, that's up to you. That's between you and God, you know. But at the same point in time, it's like if you want to be a good person, hey, love people. You know what I'm saying? Like love and respect. Respect is huge, man. Respect is huge. But, you know, we have to, like what we were talking about, breaking that cycle of letting our children watch us be empathetic, compassionate, graceful, merciful, loving to people that can't do nothing for us in return. You know, I mean, how much of a blessing is it, Nick, to literally put your cart in the cart area so where that employee is going to come out and go, you know what? I don't have to kill myself chasing 17 carts all over the parking lot, risk getting hit by somebody that's going to drive off and not even check on me in the process. And then it's like, you know what? I can understand sometimes why people who deal with the public and get paid minimum wage don't want to do the job to the best of their abilities, because you want to know why? They're dealing with people. You know what I'm saying? They're dealing with people. And in order to break the cycle We have to be better at the little things of life, man. We have to be better at the little things of life. If the cart goes in the cart basket, take it there. You know what I'm saying? If the basket goes back in the baskets at the grocery store, put it there. If the Cabbage Patch doll, I don't even know if they still have those or not.
Sure.
That shows my age, right? If the Cabbage Patch doll goes back in the toy section, don't leave it in the bread section over in the grocery part. You know, like we have to get better at the little bitty teeny weeny things in order to break the cycle, to leave a legacy for the next generation. So we don't have to look at our kids and our grandkids and go, well, people suck. It's just the way it goes, but we got to love them anyways, you know? Listen, we're supposed to love people, absolutely. And we do love people, regardless if they're good or bad. Nonetheless, I can tell you from experience, and I bet some people who are going to listen to this will say the same thing, it's a whole lot easier to love people when they don't suck. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what, Nick, man, I know we're nearing towards the end of this, man. Any final words, any final thoughts just about the situation in general, about building on little concepts and little ideas of what we can do to get better, and you know what's another random act that we could do, or whatever the case is, that we could break that cycle. What's up? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I was kind of remembering back to the theory that I read earlier, like I said, one of the things that kind of hit me again is that you must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we get backwards, just because, we don't really think about that. We think that, I just don't feel like doing it. I think that's just the mentality people have. That's somebody else's problem. I'm in a rush. I got to get home. I got groceries in the car. I don't want the milk to spoil in the 2 seconds it takes me to walk it over to the cart return. Mm-hmm. They get in that mindset. Well, everybody's in a rush. We're in a very rush society these days.
True.
But what we don't realize is that when we behave this way, when we make the choice, when we make the decision to, leave something for someone else to take care of instead of taking care of it ourselves and going the extra mile and doing something that we don't have to do but we should do, when we do those sorts of things, we forget that our heart is affected. Our life is affected. We've talked about that already, but also understanding that your heart is going to be affected as well. You return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart. Right. Understanding that, if you, want to really bless someone, go out of your way to bless somebody. Yeah, returning that cart is going out of your way, but you may bless someone in the process. You may help someone out. You may make their day. Maybe returning that cart, someone was already having a horrible, no good, very bad day, like Alexander, that weird book for kids.
I know, man, the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I remember that.
There we go.
I remember that.
Maybe you're having a horrible day, and, that employee's having a horrible day. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're having a horrible day, but I promise you that, returning that cart to the whether it's in the store or to the cart return place, you may not see the impact that you're making, but I promise you're making an impact. Mm-hmm. And we always want to do something that we can see. Again, that's why you always kind of have that argument about altruism. Altruism just meaning that, selfless acts. Altruism just means selfless acts, doing things. I know I told Keenan I was going to give him a dictionary for Christmas, but
did you see my eyes?
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Thank you for explaining.
Altruism just means basically, selfless acts, doing things for the good of others and not any kind of, feedback on your own part. A lot of people think that altruism doesn't exist, and I think it's very, very difficult for it to. I think that returning a shopping cart is a good example of altruism, but again, if you look at it this way, you could say, hey, I'm returning this shopping cart to bless somebody else. Mm-hmm. So in a way, you may think, I'm doing this for myself, because I want to better myself, I want to make better habits and make better decisions, but in the long run, you are also helping someone else out in that situation. Mm-hmm. So understand, again, we should do things for the betterment of other people, whether you're again, no matter who you are, what ethnicity you represent, what identity you represent, whatever it may be, understand that we want to do good things because that's the right thing to do.
Right.
But again, also understanding that the purpose of our being on this planet isn't selfishness. It is to survive. We need to survive. But we also are supposed to be helping other people survive. That's something we've been doing since the beginning of time for centuries and centuries. Years and years ago, we've been helping other people survive, trading with people, bringing new ideas to the table, whether it's weapons or in industry or in business or whatever it may be, bringing new things to the table. We've been helping other people for centuries. Just understanding that, it doesn't take but 5 seconds to do something that could leave a huge impact on someone's day. If they're having a horrible day and you leave that cart out in the middle of the road, or maybe maybe you leave that cart out in the middle of the road and someone's having a horrible day and they accidentally back into the cart. You just made their day way worse. Just understanding that doing something very simple can have huge positive impacts for yourself and people you may never meet. Yeah. And we need to make sure that we're trying to do that a little bit more often. Try to get over yourself, get over your laziness, get over your self-righteousness, whatever you want to call it. Stop being a savage, as this theory kind of called it, right?
Yeah.
But just make sure you're
sucking.
Yeah, exactly,
that's what I would say,
exactly.
man. Just stop sucking. Yeah.
Right. Stop sucking. And, I think, we just need to make sure that we're taking time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to make a soundbite. We really do, man. Like, as soon as, whenever we say the word sucking or, don't suck or whatever the case is, as soon as we say that, we need that. Like I'm doing the energy drink thing, like that. We need that soundbite, man. Absolutely, we do need that. So funny, man. And then I'm done. But I was literally scrolling through Facebook, and my brother, who owns an antique store, shout out to Walk Through Time. Hopefully, maybe he'll slide me some money under the table. I don't know, Good luck. Nonetheless, right? But nonetheless, he owns an antique store, and the picture he posted for stuff for sale is Cabbage Patch Dolls, and so that lets me know that they're probably not at Walmart. They're in the antique store now, man.
So don't get a Cabbage Patch doll at the antique store and go put it over next to the old typewriters.
This is true, bro. Oh my goodness gracious, that made me feel so old. So, anyways, we hope you guys have taken something away from this first episode of the new year. People suck, love them. Anyways, that is the goal. But you know what? In order to make it easier to love them, guess what? Stop sucking so bad yourself, right? Let's work on ourselves. Let's get better. Let's get better at the little things every single day. And then you know what? I think it'll start to pay off in every area of our life. I think it'll be easier to love people that way. I think it'll be easier to get through life as well. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're glad to be back. We're going to have some special guests along the way this year. Be able to tune in for that. Tell your friends about this whole situation. Be like, yo, these guys have got it going on. You need to listen to them. They talk about real life stuff. They incorporate some Bible stuff along the way. Talk about Jesus. Talk about just everything in general. And again, we'd love for you to listen and spread this word. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll be back again next week. Listen to this awesome outro. We love you. Be blessed.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go.
Thank you to everyone for listening to the People Suck But Love Them Anyways podcast. As always, you can check us out on Facebook at Fruition Church, YouTube at Fruition Church of Hodgenville, and check out our website at www.fruitionchurchky.org. Remember, don't suck and love people.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go.